On this installment, we'll be heading to the Pacific Northwest to the city of Seattle. We'll be doing all the things that tourists do by going to Pike Place Market, check out the Space Needle and Fear of Heights, to the Museum of Pop Culture, and the Chihuly Garden and Glass. And then as a bonus, we'll go to a couple other little places that not too many people visit, but you might want to check out. But first, we're going to head to Pike Place Market because that was the closest thing to us when we first got in town. Now, this place wasn't exactly what I thought it was. I thought it was mainly like a market for fruits and vegetables and meat and fish and that kind of thing. It's a little bit more. They have regular shopping as well. Man, the first thing I thought when I got here was, being from the South, we have a lot of seafood. But man, they had some mutant crab and lobster at this place. I never seen stuff so huge. Now, the place I liked the most in here was De La Renta Food and Wine, because we don't have this kind of stuff in the South. We don't get these little delis or delicatessens where you can get this cured meat and exotic cheeses and what have you. And they definitely have your extras, like a good wine selection, lots of crackers, lots of olives, and a huge selection of chocolate. I'm in heaven in here. This is unbelievable. Oh, it's so delicious. I could like stay in here for like a week. I just want a bunch of meat and cheese. I want to give props to the staff because they definitely helped me out. Picked out a nice little selection of meat and cheese for later on at our hotel room. Now, like I said, this place isn't just about fruits and vegetables and meat and fish. We found this little comic book shop, which I found quite neat. Not into comic books, but I appreciated the huge selection they had. Now, just below the market is the famous gum wall, which is a very odd place to be. People come down here and stick their old nasty used gum onto these walls for everyone to enjoy. Yuck. This is by far one of the more disgusting things I've ever seen. No COVID here, people. Now when we got back in the room, we got to eat some of this wonderful meat and cheese. Oh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. That's cut so thin you can see through it. The mild Copa. Well, that's good. So I watch the news all the time. It talks about how terrible Seattle is, and I'll be quite honest, I believe it. So we decided we're going to walk from our hotel to the Space Needle, which is about a mile away. And so far, I'm pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I see a few homeless people and a little riffraff here and there, but so far, it's not been that bad. Could be because of the area we're in or the path that we took, I don't know. I've also walked down to Pike Place Market while it was dark. Again, a little shady, but not too bad. But again, you show me a downtown of any major metropolitan city that ain't a little shady at night, you found yourself a unicorn. And now for another must-do is checking out the Seattle Space Needle. First stop, get some tickets. Go to this little kiosk located just out the door. Make your selections. You're good to go. Now, one of the odd things is you go inside to get your bracelet, but you have to walk outside in order to access the elevator that's going to take you to the top. All around the outside here, I'll give you a big, long history of the Seattle Space Needle and how it came to be. And once you get to the top, you get this great view.
Now the funny thing, as I've gotten older, I have developed this slight fear of heights. Not just the height in general, but just being too close to the edge.
This is not a comfortable feeling. Not for me. Okay, that's enough.
Now, if you forgot your camera, don't worry about it. They have this little kiosk, and you can have your photo taken, and they'll email it to you. And in case you're wondering, no, I didn't like this either. It gave me the willies. It's pretty neat on this floor how the whole room rotates.
It's a zoom lens, but there is no zoom. I'm only getting closer.
The Seattle Space Needle, is it worth $35? I think it's a little bit pricey. $25 would be more like it. You know, I wanted to come see it, so I was willing to pay it. If you want to see it, that's what you got to do.
Now for our next stop, right at the base of the Space Needle is the Museum of Pop Culture, which is pretty awesome. If you're a Nirvana fan, this place is your mecca. They have quite the display of Nirvana memorabilia and the history of how this band came to be and make such an impact on pop culture.
This is an awesome exhibition. I love Nirvana.
Now the other big Seattle band is Pearl Jam, and their display isn't as quite as thorough as the Nirvana display, but it's pretty good. Now for a little extra flavor, they have this cool little section as a dedication to hip hop. Now, if you need a little bit more of an interaction with the museum, there is the Indie Game Revolution. And this area has like a arcade in a sense. You can get a little hands-on and play some of these neat little games they have. Now this one section, this fantasy worlds of myth and magic, wasn't what I thought it was. It was a cool collection of these different costumes that came from iconic and extremely popular movies. Don't worry, you horror buffs and sci-fi fans, they got a section just for you too. Now this section I thought was pretty neat because it's a collection of guns that came from a bunch of different movies and TV shows. So you can sit there and try to guess which movie or show it came from. If you get confused, don't worry, there's a guide.
The Museum of Pop Culture. Man, this place is pretty cool. It's got a little bit of everything. Got some music, got some movie history, some horror, some sci-fi. It's a pretty neat place. It was worth the money.
Now for the next stop, also located at the base of the Space Needle, is the Chihuly Garden and Glass. Now this place was kind of neat because they had these huge glass sculptures. Now the one disappointing thing about this place is there's not a whole lot to see, so you go through it extremely fast.
The Chihuly Glass Garden was neat, very expensive because it took us about 30 minutes to look at everything. And unless you're really into glass blowing or art, you might want to bypass this one.
Now, one of the things that I like to do whenever I go to these big cities, I always check out cemeteries. And here is Lakeview Cemetery, where a very famous person has been laid to rest. Bruce Lee was buried here in 1973, along with his son in 1993. You know, I found that for a headstone that is so simple, it is incredibly beautiful. And this area is extremely well maintained.
I got myself a real pigeon here.
Now, if you're a fan of Enter the Dragon, just a few feet down, there's another famous person buried here, is Mr. John Saxon. All right, for their next stop, we're going to the 800 block of North 36th Street to see the troll.
I came, I saw, and I got the picture. I'm good.
And for our last stop, we're going to Veered Park. And what's so special about Veered Park? Well, it's located next to the home where Kurt Cobain used to live. And more specifically, it's the home where he decided to check out permanently. And if you decide to come here, please do not try to access the property. Courtney Love don't live here.
I have to admit, they had quite the view. Not so much today, it's a little cloudy, a little rainy, so you can't see a whole lot. But I bet on a nice, crisp summer day or spring day, I bet you it was really nice. Not that Kurt and Courtney knew anything, because they were probably stoned out of their mind 24 hours a day.
If you come here, you'll see a few trails through the woods they've allowed to grow up. You can get a little bit closer. However, the owners of the property put up this really tall 8-foot fence. But if you want, you can leave a little memento that says you've been here. If you forget your pen, look near a tree. There might be one taped up for you.
Now the garage where Kurt did the deed is no longer there, so there's nothing really to see. Courtney had it torn down a few years after Kurt's death. But you can come here if you so choose to do a little remembrance, pay your respects, whatever it is you want to do.
If you decide to come here, they do have street parking. It's extremely limited. Just a short walk down the road is Denny Blaine Park. You can park here as well. But beware, if you go during the summer, you might see some nudists.